All right, well, a Raleigh woman bought 2 teacups and saucers at a local thrift store, never imagining that they are a direct connection to 9/11.
Her name is Melissa Schaefer. She told me that she looks for unique items at places like estate sales or thrift shops and has been successful enough in her discoveries to start an Instagram store. But these pieces of porcelain were unlike anything she'd ever found before.
What an incredible sight you're seeing right now.
I was walking through an aisle and these just sort of caught my eye. Not only did I think they were cute, but they were on sale. So I picked them up and brought them home and didn't really think that much of it.
Wanting to know their origin, Melissa took a picture and ran it through a Google image search.
It turns out that these are part of the Chinaware set that was used at the restaurant at the top of the World Trade Center. The name of the restaurant was Windows on the World.
Her find was further verified when she saw pieces in a collection at the Smithsonian.
It really gave me chills to find these and to think that there's something that is survived in a way, and it's a strange way. Obviously, they were not in the building, but the fact that they're connected to this place where such a tragedy occurred really gave me chills.
Windows on the World opened back in 1976. It was destroyed when the towers collapsed September 11, 2001. Melissa grew up in New Jersey, attended college there, and would often visit the towers when in the city.
They were such a fixture in my life growing up, and it's just terribly awful to think about. And it's still, even now, it's really hard to think about. It's very emotional thinking about that day.
So what will she do with this memorabilia? Ideas include donating them to a museum, selling them and donating the money to a 9/11 charity, or perhaps something a little more practical.
At the same time, part of me feels like they were made to be used, and so although they are, a piece of history in a way, I might have a cup of tea out of them.
And of course, the other question is, how did they get from the top of the World Trade Center to a thrift shop here in North Carolina? Of course, we'll never know the exact path, but I contacted someone at the 9/11 Museum in New York who reached out to the former owner of Windows on the World. The former owner believes they could have been purchased as a souvenir or may have been part of a small stash of replacement pieces which were kept off-site.
Wow, what an incredible story. I like her idea of just keeping them and using them.
And the fact that, she grew up not far away from there. They would go into the city. She'd been in the towers.
Right.
She remembered going in for the first time. Melissa's a very neat lady. And, I'm really glad that they found somebody who took the time to stop and look up.
Right.
What are these things?
Wow. Great story, Bill.